Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Shifts and Pucks news pack for Tuesday, March 22nd. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks. You subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Also, subscribe as well and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, and as well as follow us on the Area 51 Sports Network. It was, of course, an extremely busy day yesterday as it was trade deadline. Devin and I recapped the day from noon Pacific, 1 Mountain on. Tried to cover as much Flames and Leafs as we possibly could and everything else that went on. And then Sean, Chris, and I went through the Canucks trade deadline in theirs in the evening. So we recapped that. So check those out as well. The word of the week is out on that podcast as well. An opportunity to win tickets to the April 23rd game between the Vancouver Canucks and Calgary Flames at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Hanging out with Sean, Chris, and Devin. Tickets to the game and food with the pig and Duke. You enter by sending us a message at Shifts and Pucks, messaging us the word of the week, or retweeting any of our pod clips, news packs, and all of that. So it was a busy day. Trade deadline over. We are now in roster setting mode in the playoff stretch here. The Flames play tonight. They will play the San Jose Sharks. Jacob Markstrom is expecting to get the start in goal tonight for the Sharks, or for the Flames. No morning skate. Looks like Michael Stone and Brett Ritchie are going to be the extras, as well as Ryan Carpenter has yet to arrive into Calgary yet. He was acquired yesterday as part of the trade deadline deal from the Chicago Blackhawks. So we'll get the lineups. Of course, and Vancouver, they did the line juggling and had Lindholm, Gaudreau, and Toffoli. They had Backlund with Kachuk and Dubé, Yarncroc with Mangiapane and Coleman, and then Monahan, Lewis, and Lucic. Defense was pretty much Shillington, Tanev, Hanifin, Anderson, and Zadorov, Gabranson. So we'll see what the line they send out for tonight's game is. Of course, the Sharks will have Tomas Hertl with Meyer and Barbanov. This is according to Shing Peng, who covers the San Jose Sharks. Logan Couture with Balsers and Leonard. Benino with Gregor and Reedy. Chmelevsky with Vale and Gadjevich, former Vancouver Canuck Jonah Gadjevich. Expect also Burns and Magna as defense, Merkley and Carlson, Balash, and Vlasic. James Reimer is expected to start, and newly acquired Kakinen from the Minnesota Wild will be back up. The Flames come into this game today, of course, in first place in the Pacific Division, as they come in with a record of 38, 18, and 8 with 84 points. As mentioned, first in the Pacific, second seed in the Western Conference, 8 points ahead of the Los Angeles Kings. The Sharks are coming in 27, 27, and 8 for 62 points, 10 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights are for the playoffs spot. So that's the game for tonight. Brad Richardson was on a line today with Juho Lammikko and Matthew Highmore, as Richardson's was acquired on waivers from the Calgary Flames yesterday. Travis Dermott also was at practice today for the Vancouver Canucks. He was on a pair with Brad Hunt. The Canucks play tomorrow against the Colorado Avalanche. Should be a very interesting game there as well. So let's go through the games today in the National Hockey League. There are 11. We touched on the Flames and the Sharks, but the Rangers are playing the New Jersey Devils. Rangers, of course, yesterday got Andrew Kopp, Tyler Mott, and Justin Braun as part of their trade deadline acquisitions. They sit currently in second place, 40, 18, and 5. There, 3 points behind the Carolina Hurricanes. They beat the Hurricanes, by the way, on Sunday, behind the goaltending of Alexander Gorgiev. The Devils have fallen for 22, 35, and 5. They've lost 3 in a row and are at 49 points. We also have the Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins, of course, acquired Rickard Rakell and Nathan Beaulieu yesterday and are sitting in third place with a record of 38, 16, and 9 and 85 points. Columbus sitting at 50, 60 7 points, 13 points out of that playoff spot from the Washington Capitals. We have the St. Louis Blues taking on those Washington Capitals. The Blues, right now, interesting enough, in a wild Central Division, are now in the first wild card spot as both Minnesota and Nashville are rolling right now. St. Louis 34, 18, and 9, 77 points. They have lost 3 in a row. Washington, of course, as mentioned, in that second last wild card spot at 80 points. Tampa Bay and Carolina, probably the game of the night. Of course, Tampa Bay with the big acquisitions of Brandon Hagel, Carolina acquiring Max Domi. Tampa Bay 39, 16, and 6 for 84 points. That's 6 points behind the Florida Panthers. Penguins, of course, the Hurricanes 41, 15, and 6 for 88 points. Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Of course, Flyers without Claude Giroux, 20, 31, and 11 for 51 points. Detroit 25, 30, and 7 for 57 points, both well out of a playoff position, as are the Ottawa Senators taking on the New York Islanders. Senators coming in 22, 35, and 5 for 49 points. The Islanders 26, 25, and 9 for 61 points. They have been playing better, though, the Islanders. But it's going to be tough for them to just too much ground to cover to get into the playoffs, I think, on that night. Currently 19 points out of a playoff spot there. We also have Vegas going back against Winnipeg. That should be an interesting game. Vegas, of course, we'll touch on the Dadonov trade in a moment here, but 34, 27, and 4 for 72 points are holding down that last wild card spot. But the Winnipeg Jets knocked them off last week and are 4 points behind. They, of course, got Mason. They did trade Andrew Kopp, but they acquired Mason Appleton. They acquired Zach Sanford, 68 points, 6, 3, and 1. So 4 points out, and 2 games in hand on the Vegas Golden Knights. So that's an interesting game to keep an eye on. The Seattle Kraken, sans no Mason Appleton, no Mark Giordano, Calle Yarncroc already. Several players that they've traded. They're taking on the Arizona Coyotes tonight as the 2 worst teams in the Western Conference, tied with 44 points right now. And actually, if I have the math right here, they are the 2 worst teams tied with Montreal right now for the worst record in the National Hockey League. Nashville is taking on the LA Kings. Kings, of course, are in second place with 76 points, 34, 22, and 8, 1 point ahead of the Edmonton Oilers. And Nashville sitting in third place, as mentioned, 37, 22, and 4 for 78 points. They're tied with Minnesota. That could be a first-round playoff matchup. So those are the games. Now let's touch on the Evgeny Dadonov situation here as well, because there were a couple of late trades that happened. Victor Rask, by the way, was traded to Seattle late yesterday, but the one that's catching everybody's attention is the Dadonov trade. So Evgeny Dadonov was traded to the Anaheim Ducks, and a deal that would have saw the Vegas Golden Knights take the contract of Ryan Kessler here. So looking at this particular point, and this was earlier this morning from Jesse Granger, 2 sources telling me that they believe the Evgeny Dadonov trade to Anaheim will likely be voided. Dadonov filed his no-trade clause with Ottawa on June 30th, which was prior to the July 1st deadline, and Vegas never received it from Ottawa. So that's from Jesse Granger. From Elliot Friedman, somehow on trade call from Ottawa to Vegas, a team Dadonov could not block. Golden Knights and NHL were led to believe that the protection had expired, not filed properly, but there's correspondence proving no trade paperwork filed correctly on time on June 30th. It's is right now. So basically, in a nutshell, for the filing of a no trade does not go through Central Trade Registry. It's with the teams, and it just looks to me what it looks like here. It's no one's particular to blame, but it just looks like there was a miscommunication, and the NHL and NHLPA are handling this. Significant on both levels. Of course, Dadonov here put Anaheim on his no trade list. For Vegas, the cap situation, getting Ryan Kessler and able to get some of these players that they have on LTIR back, uh, is one of the other things to there. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as this goes on as well. So that trade is still pending, and we'll keep you abreast of that. By the way, just to touch on the ratings yesterday for the trade deadline, and this is according to Adam Seaborn, who covers ratings. TSN Trade Center had 151,000. Sportsnet Trade Deadline, 112,000, if you're interested in that. Who won the day, of course, was Habs Bruins with 479, and Oilers Avalanche with 472 were the top two hockey games watched yesterday as well. In terms of injury news, Drew Doughty could miss the rest of the regular season. He last played on March 7th. He has 31 points in 39 games. He's out with an upper body injury. Rob Blake said it's a little too early to say, but they will exhaust every option possible. Doughty leads the kid defenseman in goals with 7, assists with 24, and points with 31. They have Sean Walker, a torn ACL, out for the season. Matt Roy, a lower body injury. Mikey Anderson, an upper body injury. They acquired Troy Stetcher, by the way, during the trade deadline. So, and they also have four other injuries as well. Victor Arvidsson, Brendan Lemieux, Dustin Brown, Andreas Athanasiou. They're all on injured reserve there as well. So that's some injury. Ryan Nugent Hopkins. The Oilers are getting healthy, and they've got points in 6 straight games. But Ryan Nugent Hopkins could be back against the San Jose Sharks on Thursday. He will miss the Oilers. He will not play tonight. The Oilers are playing the Stars tonight. By the way, that is another game I didn't see it on the list. Let me have a quick look. Sorry about that. I think I missed that. Yes, the Oilers are playing the Dallas Stars. So let me make sure that we catch up on that. 75 points for the Oilers, 3rd place in the Pacific, 71 for the Stars. So big on 2 levels there. And so that's another game to watch. Edmonton Oilers, Dallas Stars. But Ryan Nugent Hopkins, not expected to play tonight. Could play against San Jose on Thursday when the Oilers are back this way. Marcus Johansen is going to make his debut tonight. Former Kraken expected to be on a line with Evgeny Kuznetsov and Alex Ovechkin as the Capitals take on the Blues, as mentioned. Nick Leddy is expected to play tonight for the Blues in that game as well. And Ricard Raquel is expected to make his debut tonight for the Penguins against the Columbus Blue Jackets as well. So that covers that part of that. WHL, we did not get to the players of the week. And reminder, tomorrow is the prospects game, the CHL prospects game. But we'll touch on the player of the week is Olin Zellweger, 8 assists in 4 games for the Everett Silvertips. Taylor Gauthier is the goaltender of the week. The Pittsburgh Penguins prospect, 0.50 goals against average, 981 save percentage in 2 games for the Oilers. And top 10 rankings, 5 WHL clubs, of course, are featured. By the way, in the Western Conference, again, those have clinched the playoff spots. Everett, Kamloops, Portland, Seattle, Kelowna. In the East, Edmonton, Winnipeg, and Red Deer. And the top 10, we have the Oil Kings at number 1, the Winnipeg Ice number 2, the Hamilton Bulldogs number 3, Charlottetown Islanders number 4, Kamloops Blazers 5, Everett Silvertips 6, Sherbrooke Phoenix 7, North Bay Battalion 8, St. John Sea Dogs 9, Portland Winterhawks at number 10. Honorable mentions are to the Windsor Spitfires, Acadia Bathurst Titan, and the Quebec Remparts. So that is, the Ice were rolling pretty consistent, by the way, at number 1, but the Edmonton Oil Kings seem to be gaining that momentum. So that will be interesting on that end as well. And there are games in the WHL tonight because of the and this is due to the prospect game. 3 games tonight in the WHL. We've got the Winnipeg Ice taking on the Prince Albert Raiders. We've got the Regina Pats taking on the Swift Current Broncos, and the Kelowna Rockets are taking on the Victoria Royals. But again, the Prospects game tomorrow. Some of the WHL stars that you will see in that game include, we got Fraser Minton there as well from the Kamloops Blazers. Denton Matchachuk will be there from the Moose Jaw Warriors. We'll have there Jaeger Furcus as well. Owen Jaeger Furcus from the Moose Jaw Warriors. Connor Geeky from the Winnipeg Ice is on Team White. We also will have, we just go through here, Reed Schaefer from the Seattle Thunderbirds, Matt Slingren from the Kamloops Blazers on defense. This is on Team White. We as well, and Owen Pickering from the Swift Current Broncos. In goal, Mason Beaupay from the Spokane Chiefs, Tyler Brennan from the Prince George Cougars are the two goalies. So that covers the news for today, Tuesday, March 22nd. Reminder again, we are on tomorrow for some Flames talk. Sportsnet 960 Ryan Pinder will join us 3 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Mountain. So check that out. Meanwhile, follow us all individually. Sean Beardy Canuck 03, Tyler TNOBLE, Chris is Schneid's SCHNEIDZ, Devin Gordhow 09. I am KEVOLE. Shifts and Pucks on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Subscribe to wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. Keep an eye out for some reports going on there about the WHL, Adam Kurzenblatt, Liz Child, and Hassan from the Cap Space Wins Cups did a trade deadline recap on Area 51 as well. So check that out as well. And that covers the news for today. And thanks everyone for watching and listening. We'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.